What he told me was about his friend who had tricked him out of money. Burning with shame and anger, Adib lost his cool. He was determined that no matter what, his friend wouldn't find peace. Going to court, filing a case, all that needed money. And he didn't have any. He also didn't have the power to punish him through legal means. So, he chose a different path. One day, he overheard someone talking about a holy man who supposedly knew a lot about spells and rituals. If someone wanted to cast a spell or do magic, this guy could do it. And if needed, he could also bring severe punishment. Hearing this, Adib was furious. That very day, he set out to find the holy man. He searched for days, nights, and all over the place. Finally, he found him, but it wasn't easy at all. Then came the revenge. But the holy man had some conditions that turned Adib's life upside down. What happened to Adib's friend? What were those conditions like? Now, let's dive into the rest of the story. Let's get lost in the land of fear, Ajinpur. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Russell, hope you're all doing well and in good spirits. I'm good too. I'm on the good side now. I'm heading into a new situation. I'm reading it exactly as it's written. You guys killed my child. You won't get away with it. I swear I won't spare any of you. I'll wipe out your whole line. I want revenge for every drop of my child's blood you spilled. None of you will live. Peace be upon you, Razel Bai, how are you? I've been listening to Bhoot FM since I was a kid. Then there's VT.com. I work at a company, and all day I listen to Bhoot FM with earphones in, downloading old stories. I sent a story before for some reason. Maybe I wasn't selected, so I thought I wouldn't write any more stories. I felt like I must have made some mistake, that's probably why I wasn't selected. But today, I started writing again. Dear show, dear people, I want to share an incident. The story I'm about to tell is closely tied to my life. My maternal grandparents' house and my paternal grandparents' house were in two different villages. Near my maternal grandparents' place, there was a market called Nanyu's Market. My uncle had a shop there, so I used to go to the shop quite often. I'd spend time there, then at night eat at my grandma's house and come home to sleep. That night was no different. I was coming back. Just so you know, the road to our house is usually packed with people taking auto rickshaws, but after 10 p.m., it's pretty quiet and hardly anyone's around. I was walking alone, using my phone's flashlight to find my way home. Suddenly, I felt like someone whispered in my ear, "Hey, did you enjoy hurting others?" I thought it was just my imagination and kept walking. Then, the phone's flashlight went off. I realized I probably shouldn't have been playing games at the shop. My phone died. It was pitch dark all around, no electricity. Then a voice startled me, "Hey, what are you doing all alone on the street?" I jumped. It was Deepto. I was a bit surprised because Dipto wasn't supposed to be here at this time. Dipto, my friend, lives in Dhaka for his studies. Besides, it was so late, I asked if he was here, and Dipto said he had just come from Dhaka today. When he went looking for me at home, he found out I was at the market, so he was heading there too. I thought, that's good. Dipto said, let's go to that clinic over there. I hadn't been to the village in a while and wasn't feeling great either, so I agreed. The two of us sat down next to the clinic. Just so you know, there's a small government clinic in our village where locals get basic treatment. It's a small clinic. No one lives there. That's why a lot of spooky stuff happens there, I'll tell you about that another day. Dipto and I are sitting together. I had a cigarette in my pocket. I took it out and offered it to Dipto. But he didn't take it. So, I was about to light it for him when Dipto suddenly shouted, "Don't you know what you're doing? You'll die. All of you will die. You killed my child. You won't get away with this." I got scared by his sudden outburst and stepped back. Slowly, the friend standing in front of me started turning into a snake. His eyes burned with rage. He hissed angrily. While doing it, he kept talking. "You all were having so much fun that day. They burned my child's dead body. Who's going to save you today?" I'm standing frozen with fear. No sound is coming from my mouth. No prayer is coming to my lips. At that moment, an auto rickshaw passes by me on the road. I snap back to my senses. I run all the way home from there. I couldn't say anything. Before I could, I lost consciousness. When I came to, I saw I was lying in my maternal grandfather's house. With me were my uncle, my dad, mom, and that grandfather. One person. I know that traditional healer too. The healer from our area asked me what had happened, so I told him everything. After hearing it, everyone looked worried. My grandfather said, "You too?" Later, when I heard what he found out, I got so scared my hands and feet went cold. My grandfather said, "One day your grandmother kept screaming 'Snake, snake' in the kitchen." I rushed there with a stick but found nothing. I thought she was mistaken and tried to calm her down. That night, when I was about to pray, I saw a huge snake lying in the middle of the road. As soon as I shone the light on it, the snake slithered away. It goes like this. After finishing my prayers and coming home, I saw that snake right in front of my door, its hood raised, just sitting there. So, I quickly grabbed a stick and went up to it. But the moment it heard me coming, it looked my way and then slithered away. When I shouted, people nearby came over, and I told them everything. We started searching for the snake with the stick in hand, following the direction it went, but we couldn't find it anywhere. Since that day, everyone in my family has seen the snake. Even people from the neighborhood say they see the snake at my door at night. One day, my younger uncle was bathing in the pond when his foot. Someone was pulling and dragging him. You already know that story. The reason my grandfather is telling this is because I was there with uncle by the pond that day. Later, we all grabbed uncle and helped him get up. Anyway, my grandfather says that later, from uncle's own mouth, I found out that something like a snake had wrapped around his leg, which is why he couldn't get up. That night, he came down with a high fever. We took him to the doctor, but nothing was helping. Then someone brought a talisman from Imam Sahib and gave it to him, and slowly the fever started to go down. But after that, he started acting strange. He wouldn't talk to anyone and stopped eating or drinking altogether. It's common knowledge that you often find torn up chicken or duck carcasses around the house. Everyone knows it's the fox or dog. Even if the doors are closed, it still happens. One day, your grandma sees your little uncle sitting with his pet cat. She quietly feels happy, thinking the boy is getting back to normal. Then she goes about her work. Suddenly, the cat lets out a terrible scream, and hearing it, your grandma turns around. What she sees shocks her. Your little uncle is biting the cat's neck, and blood is dripping from where he bit. Uncle is getting hit in the face. Uncle is eating those. Grandma screams. Hearing her scream, everyone comes to see, and they find uncle there. They grab him and take him to his room, then call the traditional healer. Later, my mom hears that the healer has come to uncle's house. So she brings me to the healer. The healer says, I see this is happening in Hazrat's family. But why you? My grandma's name is Hazrat Ali. The healer says he will summon the spirit at night and tells everyone to be ready. Everything is prepared, and after finishing up, they try to summon the spirit at night. In this area, someone who has a spirit called jinn brought into their body is called a horse, basically, a jinn's horse. That person has to be born under the Libra sign, and you have to find someone in whom the jinn can be summoned. After a lot of effort, the jinn comes into his body exactly at midnight. Before the traditional healer can say anything, the jinn starts talking. Hey Hanan, your wife's cooked meat. It smells strong. You better go home. You won't be able to save them. Just go home. The healer says, you don't have to think about what I say. First, tell me who you are. You still don't recognize me? I'm the bearer of time. Time has sent me to answer you. 4. Yesterday, the Kabiraj seemed a bit scared. He wondered what harm these people had done to Kal. Why are they treating his family like this? The jinn started explaining, if you want to know, listen. Kal's youngest son used to come to the mosque every Friday. On those days, because of the heat, he would rest a bit in the shady spot near their house. But they brutally killed him there. Grieving the loss of his son, Kal himself came for revenge. No one can stop him. Then the jinn left. The Kabiraj said, this jinn is very powerful. I had locked my house. Even then, how did he leave without my permission? Please, tell me what really happened. Which snake did you kill? Now everyone started looking at each other. The herbalist said, tomorrow is the day of the jinn tribe. They are snakes. Tomorrow is their king's day. And they're pretty powerful. Once one of them targets you, they don't let go easily. So, what actually happened? Then Nana began to explain. That day was Friday. I was about to go pray. I went to the bathroom to wash up. But when I entered, I was shocked. There was a snake, pitch black and shiny. But somehow, it looked almost enchanting. I didn't know snakes could be that black or that beautiful. I thought I wouldn't kill the snake. I tried to stand my ground with a stick. But the snake. For some reason, the snake had curled up in one spot. Just then, my wife came in, saw the snake, and screamed out of fear. Everyone in the house rushed over and beat the snake to death. Hearing this, the healer got worried. He said, you guys killed the snake, but why is the bite mark on top of the sea? Were you even here that day? I said, after finishing my prayer, I saw the dead snake and, out of curiosity, started hitting it with a stick and even set a fire. The healer realized we were all connected to the snake somehow, but even he couldn't solve the problem. He gave me the number of another religious man to contact. To get in touch. Later, we contacted that religious leader. I'm not revealing his identity. He came over. After hearing everything, he agreed. A lot happened in between, but if I tell you all, the story will get too long. So, I'm skipping that part. On the day of the session, the religious leader and the traditional healer, along with me, my dad, my maternal grandfather, and my older uncle, all sat together in one room. The religious leader started praying to summon the spirit into his body. After a while, when the spirit appeared, the leader asked it, "Who are you? What do you want?" But it didn't answer. Then, the leader blew some kind of substance onto his body and sprinkled it around. The spirit lay there like a snake, twitching and writhing. He kept making noise. After a while, he said, "Death itself has come before you." The cleric tried to understand him. People always try to kill snakes when they see them. That's just normal. They're not to blame here. And this guy burned the snake thinking it was dead. What could he have done? Hearing this, the dark anger inside the uncle flared up and he said, "It's not their fault. No, it's their fault. I think they're all going to die, and you won't be able to stop it." The cleric said, "I can't stop this darkness, but I'm going to seal the house and put up an amulet. No matter what, that amulet must not be opened. Later, I'll bring someone stronger." For the solution, the religious leader came to our house, gave us a talisman, and sealed the house before leaving. Since then, I've been living with the problem. I still see snakes, and even though there's no problem inside Nana's family home, outside we can hear the hissing sounds of snakes. Maybe the talisman is waiting to be removed, so I called the religious leader to see if he had taken any action. He told me to come home during the Eid holidays. He has found a good religious leader for me. Please pray for me so that I can be free this time. There are many more incidents, God willing, I'll share them later. Then he gave his name and phone number. You've shared the number with us. Thanks a lot for sharing the story with us. Now, let's move on to our next story. Whether it's present or hurry, welcome back to BOI Rate at Okinper. I'm Russell, hope you're all doing well and feeling good. I'm doing well too, feeling great. I've got a new story for you. Though, you've heard the story before from the person who sent it in. It's about the resurrection of the devil. The same person who shared it before sent it again. This story was collected by Safat Alam. I'm reading it exactly as it's written. Hope you all like it. I was against all this from the start. I never believed in ghosts, spirits, magic, curses, or anything supernatural. It's better to stay away from all that. That was my principle. But the first time I got involved with all this was because of my friend Adib. This friend of mine, Adib, was tricked by another friend who took a large sum of money from him and wasn't giving it back. I knew Adib was trapped, but the way he decided to take revenge was choosing that was beyond my imagination. Adib had a bit of a strange personality. He would get angry really quickly. He wasn't very smart when it came to money matters. I kept warning him to stay away from all those opportunistic friends, thinking about the cash he got from his grandmother's property. But trust and habits take time to change. When his friends disappeared with all his money, Adib got desperate. In the end, he even took them to court. But he didn't have any proof, no written receipts for the money. Nope. No bank transfer, no proof. The case got thrown out of court. Not only did he not get his money back, but fighting the case cost so much that Adib was nearly broke in the end. The shame and loss weighed so heavily on him that all he could think about day and night was getting revenge. I knew Adib's friend had hurt him deeply with how he treated him. I also knew he was desperate to get back at him. But I had no idea just how much he was doing behind the scenes. At that time, I still didn't know what exactly he was up to. I had gone to see a holy man or someone like him. One day, suddenly Adib showed up at my house. I was out that afternoon. After eating dinner in the evening, I came back home. Just then, I heard a loud knock on the door. When I opened it, there stood Adib. He looked really uneasy, panic all over his face. Sweat was dripping down his forehead. I told him to come inside, but he seemed like he couldn't even hear me. He kept wiping the sweat off his forehead with his hand, eyes darting around. His words didn't make much sense. After a while, he started to speak on his own, slowly, in a broken voice, like something was stuck in his throat. He's forcefully pulling the words out. He said, "Bro, I'm in a huge mess. Without realizing, I've done a lot of strange things. Now I can't see any way out of this." I said in a hurt voice, "You know the holy man doesn't listen to me. What happened? Who are you calling the holy man? And tell me everything properly. I can't understand anything. If you don't start from the beginning, how am I supposed to get it? Start from the beginning. What do you want to say? I'm really worried. Have a glass of water. Take a long breath after drinking. Then tell me everything. From the start." After saying this, I brought him a glass of water and gave it to him. He drank it like he hadn't seen water in years. Looking at him, I could clearly tell he was really tired and worried. On top of that, he was talking fast, all jumbled up. I couldn't make sense of anything. I was struggling to understand what had actually happened to him, why all this was going on. Then, once he calmed down, he slowly told me the whole story. And that's when I first heard the name Sadhu Baba. Yeah, Sadhu Baba. What he told me was about his friend who had trapped him with money. He failed. Out of shame and hurt, Adib lost his temper. He thought that no matter what, his friend shouldn't be able to live in peace. He didn't have the money to take it to court or file a lawsuit. He also didn't have the power to punish him the legal way. So, he chose a different path. One day, he heard someone talking about a holy man who supposedly knew a lot about spells and magic. They said if someone was under a spell or magic, this holy man could fix it. And if you wanted, he could also deliver harsh punishment. Hearing this, a fire ignited in Adib's mind. That very day, he set out to find the holy man. He searched for a long time, through many nights and places. Finally, Adib found him. Finding him wasn't easy at all. But Adib was able to do this tough job solely because of his anger. At first, it seemed pretty simple to him, but in reality, it was far from easy. The world of magic and rituals is dangerous. Every action here comes with a steep price. Sometimes that price can't be paid with money, sometimes it's paid with the body, sometimes with the soul, or sometimes by giving up something dear. Once you settle the cost, things get easier. Even the sage told Adib what his price would be. In a fit of anger, Adib agreed. He said he wanted to teach his friend a lesson so hard that he'd remember it for life. Sadhu Baba smiled his usual sly smile and said, "I can do that for you. Actually, it's not something that just happens on its own. I have no problem with it. But the path is tough. You'll have to put in a lot of work yourself, or you won't get any results. And you have to do exactly what I say. Think carefully about what you want to do. Only if you agree to follow my instructions should you come to me. I'll lend you a hand. Otherwise, don't waste my time." Adib was caught in a dilemma, wondering what would happen if he went through with it. Again, Sadhuva said in a polite way that if his time gets wasted, he'll be punished too. Actually, Sadhuva had cleverly forced him into doing the work. Surely, he had some big plan behind it. Adib walked out thinking that Tantra Mantra probably means worshipping something with lemon, incense sticks, agar wood, clay amulets, red kites, black gur strings, and all that. Sadhuva might say that at a certain time and place, you need to cut something, tie something, take something, and then the work will be done. Maybe it can even be done like that. Thinking this, Adib waited for 5 or 10 minutes. He went into the sage's house again and asked him to do the job. Hearing this, the sage smiled and said, "Well done, son, you're a tiger cub. Now listen carefully to what you need to do." The sage explained the task to him clearly. He was explaining Hadab's work very easily. But after hearing the sage, Adib was speechless. The father handed him a small bottle and said, "Listen, son, within a month you'll find a grave where a child has died. One night, you'll open that grave and take out the body. Then, from this bottle, you'll drop a few drops of water on the child's lips. As soon as the water touches the child's 2 eyes, when you open it, at that exact moment a drop of milk from another bottle has to fall on his lips. You have to do everything perfectly, no mistakes. The baby's eyes will stay open for only 15 minutes. Then they'll close again. Once you're done, bury the body back in the same spot. Level the soil. Erase any marks. Make sure no one figures anything out. Don't look back at all when you leave the house. Got it?" Even though Sadhu Baba spoke simply, Adib's body was trembling hearing all this, but he did it. For a long time, he searched madly every day for the grave of the little child. After wandering around for a while, he finally found a baby. The hospital staff had kept things organized, and one day someone informed him that a baby had died 10 days after birth. Adib followed this lead, found the grave, and late at night dug it up and brought out the body. Then, he dropped a few drops of water from the bottle his father gave him onto the baby's face. Suddenly, the baby's eyes opened. Adib's spirit trembled with fear, but he quickly crushed that fear and strangled the baby to death. Then he gave the baby a drop of milk from a bottle. For 15 minutes, the baby stared at him without blinking. His eyes stayed open for a moment but then closed again. Adi buried him once more and left. The next day, he went to the holy man and said, "Father, I sprinkled the water just like you told me to, and the child's eyes opened. My chest felt cold. But as soon as I put a drop of milk on his lips, he went limp again. What should I do now?" The holy man said, "Listen, son, whenever you want to wake that child, pour a little milk from the bottle into a small bowl. There's a special room for this. Keep the door and windows closed. Light a small lamp and keep it burning there. At home, when you give the call, no matter where you are, the demon inside the child will come for the milk upon hearing the chant. Before feeding the milk, clearly imagine in your mind what you want to do, like a vivid picture. Don't think anything wrong, not even a little. I'm warning you. No need to speak out loud. Keep your desire only in your mind. The demon inside the child will understand your wish. It will have to do exactly what you want. Then it will come back, drink the milk, and leave. If needed, you can call it again like this. But remember, on the night of the new moon, it will come on its own to ask for milk. Use the milk as needed, because once it runs out." Adib stopped talking there. Sweat was dripping from his forehead. I was frozen, listening. Silently, I prayed to God that it was all a lie. People can make mistakes, can act crazy. But for a devil to possess a dead baby, the milk bottle, the spells, none of that should be real. But what I saw on Adib's face wasn't acting. He said, "Brother, my friend went mad within 2 days. When I heard that, I felt like dancing with joy. It felt like justice had been served. But I didn't realize what terrible power had come into my hands. Now I don't have to do anything. That devil does it all. Whatever I think, happens. I wanted that cheating friend of mine to go crazy and wander the streets. And that's exactly what happened. I asked, "What are you saying?" He told me it wasn't true. I just couldn't accept it. Hearing me, he looked down at the ground. I could tell he felt sorry. So I calmed myself a bit and said, "Okay, then what?" Then he said, "I hid the milk bottle in a very safe place. At night, I'd leave milk in a container and chant some spells. He would come, do his work, and then drink the milk when he came back. I watched from afar and saw small wet clay spots at the bottom of the container when the milk was finished. There used to be this faint smell of muddy milk lingering around the table. Everything was going on like that. But one night, everything changed. It was a new moon night. I was tired and fell asleep. In the middle of the night, I woke up to a strange sound of someone laughing. I looked and saw a child sitting by my feet on the bed. Calling it a child would be wrong. It wasn't a child at all. It was the devil himself. Though its body was that of a child, inside it lived a terrifying creature. Small hand and footprints appeared all over the walls of the room, flickering like flames, glowing for a few seconds and then disappearing. Wherever it put its hands or feet, this would happen. But his hand was cold. I felt his cold hands touching my neck. His face was smiling, one eye popped out. I screamed and jumped off the bed. Hurriedly, I went to get the hidden milk bottle. I struggled to take the bottle out and quickly poured the milk into a bowl nearby. But my eyes kept drifting back to that baby-like little devil. At one point, he lifted his head and looked at me. Scared, I stepped back. Right then, the milk bottle slipped from my hands and broke. Milk spilled all over the floor. I ran out of the house. I stood outside the house shivering for a long time. After almost an hour, I finally gathered the courage to go back inside and saw no one there. The pot was empty. There were little handprints on the floor. Wet handprints around the edge of the pot. But the bottle was broken. A little milk was left in the crack of the glass. The rest had dried up. I carefully poured that little bit into another small bottle. Now there's very little milk. At most, I can feed him once. After that, if I can't feed him, I don't know what will happen. The holy man didn't tell me what would happen. He even stopped halfway while trying to say it. Brother, I saw it on his face. I saw this weird, devilish smile back then. Now, I don't know what's going to happen. Hearing that, I started feeling scared inside. I kept thinking that no matter what, I have to get him out of this mess. While we were discussing, we decided to go back to Sadhu Baba. We started fixing a date. But on the very day we planned to visit Sadhu Baba, something unexpected happened. Adib said, that whole day, I was looking for Sadhu Baba but couldn't find him. And when I finally did, I told him everything. Sadhu Baba just laughed and said, "Boy, I told you pay the price. The milk bottle broke. There's very little milk left. We have to give the devil back. All right. I can solve the problem. But who's going to pay me for it? Who will pay the price?" Adib asked him about the price. In return, that father made a strange proposal involving his sister and said if the price isn't paid. Hearing this, Adib broke down crying. When he was telling me all this, he kept crying non-stop. I put my hand on his shoulder and said, "Bro, Amavasia hasn't come yet. There's still time before the next new moon. Don't lose hope, stay calm. We'll definitely find a way. I'll go with you to see Sadhu Baba." That night, I let Adib sleep at my place. He took a small bottle out of his pocket and handed it to me. It was milk with some kind of spell on it. A little white liquid inside a plant. Both of us felt really heavy. I stared at the milk, feeling torn. It seemed like what he said was true, there was some kind of demon bound here. Still, I spent the whole night wondering if the holy man really gave him some kind of spell or if it was all just a trick to get us involved. If it was all a lie, then there was nothing to fear. But if the kid was really possessed, then Adib was in serious trouble. The next morning, the two of us went to the holy man's house. I went there. He sat in a quiet spot behind his house. There was this weird, thick smell in the air, like incense sticks, wood, and burning old clothes. As soon as we got inside, he signaled the others sitting there to leave. Everyone got up. Then he told us to sit. Adib introduced me to him. When he saw me, he smiled in a strange way. There was a flicker hidden in his smile, a flicker I'd seen in his eyes before. He had a thick beard and dark eyes. Then, looking at Adib, he said, "How are you? What did you think about my price? Are you gonna pay or what?" He asked, and I could clearly see the anger in his words. I told him, "Dad, you've already done Hadab's work. You don't need that devil anymore. Please send him back." But he didn't listen to me. He didn't pay any attention. He didn't even look properly at me. It felt like my words meant nothing to him. "Dad," Adib told the truth, "but you didn't answer his question." Hearing this, Sadhu Baba got angry and asked, "What question? Didn't I say anything?" Seeing this kid's boldness, I was shocked. "You know who I am and what I can do to you." Just looking into his blood-colored eyes, my soul. Even though I was scared, I mustered up the courage and said, "You never said anything about sending the devil back, and you didn't say what would happen when the milk ran out." He nodded and said, "Listen kid, everything has a price. I told you my price, and if I don't get it, I'm not handing anything back." Before I could finish, Adib got furious, his face turning red as he stepped forward to grab his throat. He started cursing him in words I can't repeat. Somehow, I pulled him away. Sadhu Baba smirked, relaxed a bit, and sat up straight. Then he said, "Last night, when you grabbed my hand and begged, I thought I'd help. But now, you're cursing at me and threatening to hit me. Get out, just get out, or it's gonna get ugly. I'll teach you a serious lesson. Let's go." We both quietly stepped outside. Once outside, I told Adibop, "What's wrong with your head? Whose problem is this, yours or mine? Since it's your problem, getting angry won't help, man. They're all the same, just like my friend over there. This guy needs to be taught a lesson too." I tried to explain it to him. He wanted to learn, that's why he chose this path himself. From the start, Dad talked about the price and the results. Getting angry now won't do any good, it'll only put our lives in danger. After getting home, we spent the whole day thinking about what to do and both ended up falling asleep. A few days passed, and Adib started taking care of the bottle like it was more precious than life itself. Dokna kept checking it over and over. I got him a sturdy glass bottle with a tight lid. I heated the old bottle to sterilize it and clean the new one thoroughly. I was very careful pouring the milk from one bottle to the other. I was surprised the milk hadn't gone bad all this time, it still seemed fresh. Just then, Adib's hand slipped and a drop fell on the floor. He quickly sealed the new bottle tightly and bent down. I started watching the photo. In no time, ants swarmed around it. But the ants that moved forward, sucking the milk, seemed to be burning up and turning to ashes in some scorching heat. I shivered. I'd never seen anything like it in my life. It felt like there was an invisible trap around the milk, and any ant that stepped in got burned. Adib slowly said, "See? That devil circles right around there." I was really scared. The new moon is coming soon, and it will definitely come. I might survive this once. But what happens after that? Hearing Adib's words, my throat went dry. I couldn't sleep all night. I dreamed that the shadowy kid was sitting on his chest, drinking some blood-like liquid by squeezing his throat. I woke up and saw the curtain by the window moving. There was no smell in the air, but my chest was still tight. In the evening, I told him I had an idea. Maybe it's risky, but it's the only way. I asked, "Did the sage ever say you couldn't use this thing against someone else?" He thought for a moment and said, "No, there was no such condition." I said, "Then let's send that devil back to the sage. Either he'll be forced to take him back, or he'll end up on his own. And the devil will be freed too." Hearing this, Adib was silent for a moment. Then he smiled lightly and said, "Yeah, I guess something like that could really happen." We both knew there was no other way. That very night, we decided to summon the devil. It was getting late, almost 11 o'clock. We placed a big table in the middle of the room. We poured some milk into a small bowl and put it right in the center of the table. Then we closed all the doors and windows. In one corner, we lit a small lamp. The soft light cast shadows on the walls. I quietly asked Adib how we'd call him. He said, with the mantra given by the priest. He said he'll come as soon as we ask, and won't touch the milk until we express our wish and he fulfills it. If we make him wait too long, he gets angry. So, we have to decide exactly what we want before calling him. Then he'll disappear and get the job done. Once finished, he'll come back, drink the milk, and leave. I said, "All right, let's get started." He asked me, "Don't tell me what you're thinking." He closed his eyes and started chanting some kind of mantra. I understood some words, but most were unclear. The last part was completely unfamiliar. As soon as he stopped chanting, the room seemed to cool down a bit. A light mist appeared over the liquid in the vessel. It got still. The lamp flickered softly. There was a faint rustling on the table, like tiny footsteps of a little one. And sure enough, after a moment, a faint shadowy figure appeared around the vessel. You could tell it was the shape of a small child. My chest started trembling. My palms got sweaty. Just a quick glance at its face froze me in place. But the faster it showed up in front of me, the quicker it vanished. It was clear that Adib had already thought everything through and gone out to work. The two of us just sat quietly, with nothing but the pot of milk and the tiny flame of the lamp in the room. Outside, far away, there was silence. The dog's faint bark made it feel like the night was getting even heavier. Mute sounds were coming out. We sat staring at the pot. It felt like the clock had struck 12 at the market. I whispered and asked how long he usually takes to come back home. Adib said he had returned within half an hour the last 2 or 3 times. We waited 12:30, 1:30 He was nowhere to be seen. My hands and back ached, but I stayed sitting straight, silent. 1:30, then 3. Suddenly, I noticed the milk in the pot was turning sour, going bad, and a rotten smell spread all over the room. None of us moved. It felt like something terrible was happening. I felt like the holy man might have put some kind of obstacle. Maybe he's no longer alive. And the biggest fear was if the child's spirit came back again. And what if this time, when it comes back, it finds that the reason it came is gone or destroyed? What would happen then? We kept staring at that vessel from around 3:30 to 4 o'clock. It didn't return. Adib said he's never been this late before. A flicker of hope sparked inside me. Maybe the holy man's time was up. He was gone for good. As soon as it hit 4:30 in the morning, we blew out the lamp and opened the windows and doors. We didn't touch that spoiled liquid. We made up our minds. Straightforward. I went to the Sadhu Baba's house. I closed the door behind me and stepped out. As soon as I reached his hut, I saw a crowd. Some strangers seemed to know him. The police were there too. I told Adib to stay back while I pushed through the crowd to the front. The police were writing the death report. The body was covered with a cloth. One man said, "I live here. That Baba used to sleep alone. Last night, I suddenly heard a loud scream and ran over. When I got there, I found him lying on the ground, lifeless." The police pulled back the cloth and asked, "Is this the Sadhu Baba?" The man said, "Yes, I've seen him too." When I saw his face after they uncovered it, my heart started pounding. He got up. The skin on his face was hanging loose in places. One eye was missing. In its place was a black hole. There were reddish wet stains on the ground. It was clear the kid's demon had attacked him. I stepped back and sighed deeply. It felt like Sadhu Baba was done for. There was a slight relief in Atib's voice, but the fear still lingered. Then I remembered, new moon nights always meant the baby was hungry for milk. What if it came back and we had nothing to give? We went back home. The house was open. The air had changed. The milk in the pot was spoiled and smelled even stronger than before. But that night passed safely. The next new moon night. We were both restless all day that day. As the sun set in the evening, silence fell over the house. The window had a mosquito net, the door was shut. The light was dim. There was no liquid left in the pot. Even if the devil came, there was nothing left to give him. The bottle had a little milk, and we kept it carefully because that was our last refuge. That night, we waited, no tune in the voice, no chant on the lips, just a pounding heart. But strangely, not a single sound all night. No one peeked through the door crack. No shadow sat by the bed at our feet. No mud from small hands fell on the table after the dawn call to prayer. We looked at each other. Tears welled up, and there was a weight on our shoulders, like some heavy burden had been lifted. Another new moon night passed. Still, nothing happened. We realized that whatever was going on with the holy man and that child's connection with the evil spirit was finally over. Or maybe the reason Tata was called had been fulfilled. If it had ended there, you might have said it was all just superstitions. But when I think back to those nights, every smell, every sound, every shadow comes to mind. Adib is much calmer now, though sometimes I see a blankness in his eyes. That bottle still means something to him. That little glass bottle was empty now, the last drops of liquid inside it, he broke it with his own hands. Before breaking it, we spent a long time thinking about what exactly we were doing. Then, one quiet afternoon, we spread out old newspapers in the yard, wrapped the bottle in cloth, and smashed it with a stone. The floor where the broken glass and smell of milk used to linger, we scrubbed and cleaned over and over again. We dusted the tree branches, replaced the window plants, washed the curtains, and left the pillows out in the sun. It was like we wanted to wipe away the scent of those nights from the whole house. Still, sometimes, the air carries a chill creeps in. We look at each other. No one says a word. My relationship with Adib hasn't changed. He's much quieter now. More careful about money. There's a kind of regret in his eyes that words can't describe. I know he called the devil to punish his enemy. But that punishment ended up touching him too. When someone tries to take down another, they end up hurting the person inside themselves. I still wonder how people like Sadhu Baba can see right through others' weaknesses. Hearing me, you might wonder why I'm so. Let me explain why I'm dragging out the scenes, the smells, the silence, because I don't want anyone to think it's just some storyteller's imagination. I'm not a storyteller. I'm just a friend who stood by another friend through many dark nights. I've seen windows fog up, watched ants turn to ash. That day, the old hermit's hut had this weird, damp smell sometimes. It still hits our noses. When Adib started trembling, telling me about that night, I held his hand. He said he didn't know back then how terrifying it all was. I told him, now you do. And that's the greatest strength there is. Now we know how a small mistake can turn into a big darkness. We know how to stop that trap. We know that to stop a storm, you don't open the door, you close it. I know to light a lamp, you have to keep your hand steady. And your breath slow. I know that if someone shivers at night and there's someone inside the house, you call out to that person, not to the devil. And maybe that's why nothing happened on the last new moon and the one before that. Maybe the devil of creation found his own kind of freedom. Maybe he had a bond with the holy man, and it's been broken. Maybe even the last drop of this milk has dried up from our hearts. We don't know. We only know that no container holds any liquid. No more chants need to be said. When I tell you this story, all I want to say is this: when a person looks into darkness, the darkness looks back at them. We live with this lesson, and maybe because of it, we'll be saved from another new moon night. With these words, a person close to the cleric ended the story. It's a really strange incident. I hope you liked it. That's where they ended it. Sifat Alam sends a big thank you to everyone who patiently listened to the story till the end. We're signing off now. See you next time. Presented by ghotana.com, but I got lost on a scary night in Adhinpur. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Russell, hope you're all doing great and on the right track. I'm good too, staying on the right path. I'll read exactly as it's written. Assalamu alaikum Russell, bye. I won't ask how you're doing because I know you're always well and on the good side. I'm Arnab Ahmed. My home is in a village called Shibarampur in Bajadpur Upjala, Kishoreganj district. But I'm writing this from Saudi Arabia. I'm one of your many listeners, been with you for a long time. Ever since I started hearing your stories on Save FM and WEB.com, I've come across quite a few. I've had a strong desire for a long time to share one of my own stories, but it never happened. After writing the story, I hesitated to send it, worrying whether you'd like it or not. Finally, I decided to email one story. If you like it, please do read it out loud. And if there are any mistakes in my writing, please forgive me. After completing my SSC exams, I had to leave the country and settle in Saudi Arabia. I arrived there sometime in January 2023. In Saudi Arabia, my days were going really well here. There were 4 of us Bangladeshis. We all stayed in one room. I often sat outside the room on the sofa, listening to bhut.com with my Bluetooth on. Like any other day, I had my Bluetooth in and eyes closed, listening to bhut.com. Suddenly, Nasir Mama came out of the room. I'm calling him Mama because he's older. He's from some place in Bangladesh. Suddenly, he said, "Hey, what are you doing with that Bluetooth in your ear? You gotta keep it in all day. MamaBhut.com, I heard you tell ghost stories." "Hey, I've got plenty of those stories too." I get curious and said, "Really? You've got real stories? Tell me one." "Yeah, I'll tell you," he said. "Wait, I'm coming." After about 5 minutes, Nasir Mama came back with 2 cups of coffee. He put the cups on the table and sat down on the sofa with me. I told him, "If I like your story, I'll definitely share it on bhut.com. Then lots of people like me can hear your story." "No problem," he said. "Just share it like I tell it. And just so you know, I have lots of stories like that, but yours. I don't send stuff anymore just to see if you'll like it or not. Let me quickly explain something here. If you have the story, send it over, whether it's selected or not, just send it. I've already picked it, so you can guess you write well. Anyway, back to the story. Nasir uncle said, "Look, you might have a bit of trouble understanding my story, but once you hear the whole thing, it'll be easier to get. So, what happened, whether it happened to you or someone else, you don't need to know. Just assume it happened to me." Nasir uncle started, "When I saw the body, I got more scared than I ever have. I've never gotten this in my whole life. This is my job, digging graves and burying the dead. Most of the unclaimed bodies end up being buried here. I feel a bit sorry putting these bodies into the ground. The person spent so much time with us in this world, and now that they're gone, no one came looking for their body. Maybe this was the fate written for them. I bury these thoughts along with the bodies. But with this one, I didn't feel anything at all. In fact, it scared me. Looking at the face, I guessed he was about 50, but there was this angry, fierce look on it. I kept staring at the body for a long time. I couldn't do it. What kind of crime did that horrible guy commit that someone beat him up like that? First, they separated his head from his body. Then they chopped his whole body with something like a flatbread or something and poured acid on him. No one could identify this dead body. Not even any news of someone going missing from the city in the past 4 or 5 days. So, the hospital authorities were sent a notice from the police station to do the post-mortem and bury the body. But like it happens in government hospitals in smaller towns, the same thing happened here. They did the post-mortem, stitched up the body as best as they could to close the case. They've been sent to the cemetery. I was the caretaker of the cemetery where unclaimed bodies sent from the government hospital were buried. Today, when an ambulance dropped off this body at the cemetery, I immediately realized I had to take care of burying another unclaimed body. But after seeing this one, I didn't feel the usual sympathy. It was already getting late, so I quickly called Yahantu and started digging the grave. All the while, the image of the head, separated from the body, kept flashing in my mind. The government hospital made such a careless mistake that they sewed the head back onto the body, even though it was an unclaimed corpse. They didn't bury it right away. Plus, the body had been lying in the hospital morgue for 4 or 5 days. The smell was awful. When Juntu and I finally finished burying the corpse, the Maghrib prayer call had already sounded. I went to wash up, and since the work was done, Juntu left too. Juntu is a boy of about 10 or 12 who helps me with the work. He stays until evening and then leaves. After that, I'm the only one left at the graveyard. The spot where the dead are prayed over is right by the gate, and just outside the gate, there's a small single-room place where I stay. It's basically just outside the gate, pretty much inside the graveyard itself. Haba Shores. It's a graveyard, you know. And on top of that, it's an unclaimed body's grave. So, you could say this place is chosen a bit away from the crowded parts of the city. I cook for myself. Every day after ASR prayer, I cook, eat, and then lie down. Sometimes I step outside and look towards the graveyard. I keep thinking there's no one guarding the graves. In big cities, bodies get stolen, but no one's ever heard of that happening here. Still, since this is my job, before I sleep, I follow my routine: eat, drink, light a cigarette, and then stare at the graves. It's normal. I found myself looking at the newly dug grave. It wasn't just my imagination, I clearly saw that something was on the head of the grave. When I went closer, I saw the soil was disturbed. What's going on? Just 3 or 4 hours ago, Hantu and I had carefully filled the grave. I was a bit rushed compared to usual, but I definitely didn't leave it like this. It was obvious someone had tried to dig up the soil and even scattered it around. In that moment, I thought maybe some dog got in through the gate and did this. So, I pressed the soil down with my hand to cover it back. But something like this never even crossed my mind before. Every day, I lock the gate myself with a padlock. No dog or human can ever get into the cemetery. I locked the door at home and fell asleep feeling safe. I woke up feeling really sick. That never happens to me. I usually sleep right through the night. Since I don't have a watch, I couldn't tell what time it was. I never feel like this when I wake up. But today, for some reason, I felt like opening the door and going outside. When I stepped out, a strong rotten smell hit my nose. I looked around to find where the smell was coming from. In the clear moonlight, I saw the place where they held the funeral prayer for the dead had something wrapped in white cloth. Probably a corpse. You can guess I was brave. I used to keep watch over the grave. Not scared, I stepped closer to get a better look. Just like they lay out a dead body on a bier for the funeral prayer, there was a body lying there the same way. Who would bring a dead body here so late at night? I started wondering if someone had brought it. Why didn't they call me? Then I thought, to get inside, you have to go through the gate, and I'm the only one with the key. That's when fear started creeping in from all sides. He did it to me. I feel like I'm even losing the strength to walk. Still, like a madman, I moved toward the corpse. When I pulled back the cloth, I was nowhere near ready for what I saw. I felt like I was going to faint. That face, separated from the body, was right in front of me. How could the body buried in the afternoon be here now? The burnt, rotten smell from the acid-melted flesh was overwhelming. None of this made any sense to me. I was so shocked and scared I felt like I was turning to stone. Suddenly, I thought every corpse would just get up and fall right in front of me like this. But that didn't happen at all. It didn't happen. The dead body was lying right in front of me. Somehow, I felt strength return to my body. Suddenly, the fear just vanished from me. Without thinking much, we decided to take the body out of the grave and rebury it. As soon as that thought crossed my mind, I hoisted the body onto my shoulders. I don't think I've ever carried such a heavy corpse before. It was really hard to manage the weight. The body was about 5 or 6 days old. As soon as I shifted it a bit, it started to crumble. I felt like its limbs were about to fall off. It seemed like the head might come off from the body at any moment. So, I carried the body on my neck. Just then, my head suddenly slipped inside the cloth. I lifted my head with one hand. We walked towards the grave to place the body. As soon as I put the body in the grave and set the head properly, my eyes popped open. The corpse was staring at me with big yellow eyes. It was holding my hand with one hand, and there was no strength or way for anyone to pull it away. Every hair on my body stood on end, and unable to handle any more, I fainted. When I came to, I saw Junto leaning over my face. Choto asked what happened last night and how the newly buried corpse could be dead. He went to the place where the funeral prayer was held. Hearing this, I felt like my ears had been blocked. I had already buried the body twice myself yesterday. I just couldn't cover it with soil. I'll explain why another day. I just said I wouldn't work there anymore and left right then. The cemetery authorities, without digging too much into the matter, decided to rebury the body and hire a new guard. Since no one was around that day, 2 brave young guys from the area decided to keep watch over the cemetery. They planned to keep watch for as long as needed. Besides, they thought the guard, meaning me, would know why I left. The other night, during the dark phase of the lunar cycle, I was peeking into the cemetery when I saw the buried corpse suddenly stick out a hand and, struggling hard, started moving the soil away as if trying to stand up. Then, very slowly, it made its way toward the place where the dead are laid out for their funeral prayers. It quietly lay down there. After seeing that, I couldn't stay there any longer. I ran straight back home. Later, everything settled down. After that, I didn't hear much more about it. With that, Nasir uncle finished his story. I hope you all liked this tale. If you did, please do let us know. Now, we'll move on to our next story. Right now, I'm lost in Ajinpur and scared in the night at Akinpur. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Russell, hope you're all doing well and in good spirits. I'm doing fine too, staying positive. The person who sent this story did so for Akinpur, and whether you believe it or not is up to you, the listeners. Without wasting time, I'll get straight to the story. Here's how it was written, and I'll read it just like that. A cursed pond in Petni. Assalamu alaikum, Russell Bhai. I'm Enamal Haq Iman from Ankaria Upjala in Pabna district. My birth. Right now, I'm studying in the second year of intermediate at Shahid Abul Hasnat Mohammad Kamruzaman Government Degree College, located in a suburb of Rajshahi. If this story gets selected, please let me know. If there are any unintended mistakes while writing the story, please forgive me kindly. Without saying much more, I'll get straight to the story. But before that, I want to mention one thing. All the names of people and places used in the story are fictitious. It's been a long time since I last met my friend Muhaib. So this time, I went to the village and met him. The two of us were sitting together, chatting at a tea shop. The two of us. I had a cup of tea in my hand. I took the tea and we were chatting. In the middle of the conversation, I said that I really like ghost stories. Then Mahim said he actually has one. Because his grandpa used to be a traditional healer. He used to tell him a lot of stories. If I want, he can tell me one. Do you know my grandpa? He used to work as a healer, and everyone knew him as Kabiraj Anwar Sahib. One day, I was sitting with my grandpa while there was a power outage in the village. I asked him to tell me a ghost story. So now, I'm going to tell you exactly how Grandpa told it. The incident took place by an abandoned pond at the edge of Rupnagar village, known as Petni Di. For almost 100 years, this pond had been the source of fear for the villagers. The story goes that many years ago, a poor bride from the landlord's family, driven by her husband's ultimate betrayal, was forced to take her own life in this pond. Her restless spirit is said to still wander there. The pond's dark water always stayed perfectly still, not even a breeze could create a ripple. On full moonless nights, a chilling crying sound would drift from the pond's edge. And sometimes, a ghostly figure wearing a white sari could be seen near the dark shore. There was a brave young guy named Shashank from that village. He was the only son of Haridas Prasad and had studied outside. Maybe that's why Shashank was a modern, carefree kinda guy. He didn't pay any attention to those ghost stories. One day, he was hanging out with 4 or 5 friends. Suddenly, one of them, Prasad, brought up the story about the pond. Then Prasad said, "You know that pond of Petni's, the one over there? A bride had committed suicide there. And now that pond has started acting up again. People say you can hear scary noises." Hearing this, Shashank burst out laughing. Laughing and laughing. He said, "What are you even saying? Who believes this stuff nowadays?" Then Prasad said, "If you've got the guts, go check it out yourself. You can even bet with your friends on it." On a dark, moonless night, he set off towards the pond with a flashlight. Around 1 in the morning, he reached the pond's edge. At first, he didn't hear anything. It all seemed like made-up nonsense. But suddenly, a faint sound reached his ears. It sounded like someone crying in a very emotional voice, and the crying seemed to be coming from a silk cotton tree nearby. When he looked up at the silk cotton tree, Shimal grabbed a torch and saw a figure floating in the air near the Shimal tree, and he was about to faint. Then he realized this was the witch. The witch whispered, asking him, "I was waiting just for you." He laughed, and then suddenly she fell hard on his neck and scratched him with her nails. Shashank wanted to faint badly, but for some reason, he just couldn't lose consciousness. He felt like his soul was about to leave his body. It seemed like the witch was tightly holding him from behind. He desperately wanted to run and escape home, but he couldn't move an inch. He couldn't take it anymore. Suddenly, the Fajr call to prayer floated in, and right then he realized it was time, it was dawn. Anyway, as soon as the call started, that figure vanished into the air, and Shashank just couldn't hold himself back anymore. He ran back home, and as soon as he got to the courtyard, he screamed and fainted. After that, he doesn't remember anything. The next morning, when asked what happened to him, he told the whole story. Then his mother said, "We were sleeping in the morning when suddenly I felt like you were calling me loudly. I hurried outside to the courtyard.